The only time you need extra permission is if you're gonna come out on the side.
I'm not hopping in the
You're in that area.
We'll stay in the back pocket of the lot.
Get myself on there.
He's the
Here's the virtual link. Oh,
The lighting guy, yeah.
Tell you exactly what you need to order. He'll let you order the materials.
Yeah.
But he will tell you exactly what you need materials. He will give you his,
There's no idea that our church was so much older than we come today. How fast
There
has
is
been
the
this
right
process? They are just.
If you're not going through any other, like, if you're funding it yourself and you're just like, great, let's do it, he's quick.
So, yeah.
But if you're trying to use like any kind of grant funding, that's when everything slows down because of the lining up the money. And you might need wire, you might need guide wires different, a little bit different than but it's just because you have such a long span across your lot.
Do you know how we find them?
We'll give you his contact.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we don't let people just like, good luck, he's out there somewhere. We normally he'll probably text you.
It's interesting. I've watched some of the meetings online from the ones that like were posted on YouTube. You all share some of them on YouTube. So I went and looked at least some of them when we first were looking in the area just to kind of figure out
Oh, I'm just trying to
where
get
we
it.
are. Welcome to the community. So it's nice to have Facebook be in the space of the community.
Yeah. The meetings used to be in a different church. It was more like it was like in a hall. I think this is a little nicer. At least you don't have to put tables and chairs out every meeting. You just
all
show
were
up
here.
and sit.
This was like last year y'all were here.
Yeah, they were here last year. This was a couple years ago.
Pre-pandemic, we were at Salem.
Yeah. But I find that church is a little harder to find. Like people, it's like you have to explain where it is. It's in the middle of the block.
Little box tricky. Yeah.
the beauty here is that, Pastor Mark Joseph.
Hey, Joseph. We haven't met. You looked a little familiar, but I wasn't sure if we met yet.
We have not met, but I'm always around the area. So
Nice. Cool. Well, good to meet you.
Same, nice to meet you.
And welcome here.
Thank you.
So the beauty here is the sanctuary is set up for like live meetings.
I'm already.
You don't have to do any extra text.
That's why.
Typically I would. Virtually, but because you can't. I bet I shall.
Are you running the slides off your laptop or you run off? Is that stuff?
I was thinking
I'm the only one that elbows still. Everybody else shakes hands.
You gotta do something.
Should I wear the mask? Should I go with the
I'll let you work on it.
there we go. Very much. You can put it in on the screen all day.
Hey, this is Mark. ¿Cómo estás?
You want to make sure I'm balanced?
Oh, I was trying to make myself.
You what? All right, welcome everyone. We're going to get started. Crowd's a little thin. We've got a number of people online here, and I suspect we're going to have some more people. In fact, I'm all but certain we're going to have some more people trickle in. But we have a lot to cover tonight, and I do not want to lose any ground by starting late. So let's just get going. First off, do we have any new residents in the room? New residents? New? There you go. Do you guys live in the neighborhood? Yes. Awesome. So welcome to the Highlandtown Community Association. This has been ongoing since way before my time, and I've been affiliated here for 10 years-ish. So we have a long and storied history, as they say. So welcome, welcome to the Highlandtown Community Association. A few notes. Restrooms are downstairs. I'm a little unclear as to which one is the men's room and which one is the ladies' room, but Mark can tell you, and it's not that large a
So-
place that you can't get lost, so.
Downstairs there is marked for women. Downstairs there is marked for whoever wants to use it and throw the lock. So there you go.
There you go, all right. The video of tonight's event, tonight's meeting, and all other meetings is online at www.highlandtown.com, as is the Zoom link for people to attend via Zoom. We can take questions via Zoom. It actually works very well. It's a pretty seamless hybrid in-person meeting situation. So we've got that going for us. So if you can't, if you're here this week and you can't make it next week or next month, there's an easy way to come. Just go to www.highlandtown.com. You will find the link on the opening page, and voila, here you are. So tonight we are having our board elections. I have ballots up here for everybody who is a member of the association. We are going to take votes online for the people who are not here, for the members who are not here. They can be submitted through the Zoom chat, but go private, go just straight to the Highlandtown Community Association or the host rather than broadcasting it to everybody if you want to keep your ballot secret, so we can segregate it that way. This is the first time we've ever done an election like this, so we'll see how it goes. So up on the screen, you'll see a slideshow. Is that scrolling in, or is that just static? Okay, I just wasn't watching it closely enough to see. We have a QR code you'll see on the screen right now that we're using for people to sign in on, so that we know who was in attendance. It is, in fact, the only way that we are tracking proper membership right now. The Highlandtown Community Association has waived our dues for the past roughly 4 years. It didn't make us a lot of money that way, and it was kind of a pain in the butt to go about collecting, and you get a lot of, well, I don't have any cash, I'll get back to you next week. And, you know, it just didn't make that much for us. Plus, we want to be inclusive. We want anybody who's got problems anywhere in the neighborhood to reach out to us and say, hey, I need a little bit of help with this, and not feel like they have to be an active member, you know, who's been coming to meetings or something. So active membership gives you the right to vote, and outside of that, pretty much anybody who wants to attend these are open meetings, and we welcome everybody who lives within the community. The only requirement for being a member of the Highlandtown Community Association is that you have to live within our perimeter. And if you've got any questions about that, it's a little bit convoluted. It's not a perfect square. So if you have any questions about that, you can ask me or email me at highlandtown21224@gmail.com. That's Highlandtown, our zip code, at Gmail, easy peasy. And everybody is always welcome. And can you scroll to the MLK slide, please? I'm asking her to do a lot of things here. So today is Martin Luther King Day, and the city of Baltimore has declared today a day of service, which was almost in lieu of having the parade, but the parade was reinstated. But that doesn't change the fact that today was considered to be a day of service by the city, and we in Highlandtown believe that every day is a potential day of service for people to come in and, you know, work on projects and look out for their neighbors and that kind of thing. Potential service projects include block projects, like cleaning and greening projects, cleaning alleys, that kind of thing, greening projects. We can help you with tree pit surrounds, tree plantings, lots of things, and we really just want to hear from you. Block parties, if you want to have a block party and you want to tie it to an active service, a cleaning or greening project, we will be happy to help offset some of the costs of a block party, and we will try to fund everything that's needed for the project if we can. We may have to go to a grant funding source to find money for something, but there are grants around, and we will watch for that kind of thing. So anyway, if you have ideas for your block or for the entire neighborhood, please consider the Highlandtown Community Association to be a resource. And again, if you've got ideas for these things, please send them to highlandtown21224@gmail.com for consideration, and we'll get back to you. Other things, I can't read I can read it. Obviously, we're always watching out for neighbors and such as an act of service for our community. And we would always ask that people consider service on our board because, you know, without engaged residents, we are nothing at all. And donations are always welcome because, and I want to make a point of this again, we are no longer collecting dues. So when we have a variety of fundraisers. We have a Highlandtown Wine Festival. We have had a crab feast in the past. We have a basement bar tour, which is essentially a walking tour. These are all ticketed events. We had the Easter egg hunt last year. We're looking at having a Highlandtown prom, adult prom. And Easter egg hunt this year. So things are happening, and these are fundraisers, and this is where we get the money that actually we return to the community to help support projects like I mentioned earlier. So,
we're also doing beach day at the garden.
oh, and beach day at the garden.
We're gonna allow it, we're gonna get one of the inflatable slides and use the water, and we're gonna do a beach day at the garden.
Okay, so there's one that I did not know about. We are going to do a beach day with a water slide at the Conkling Street Garden, which is affiliated with the Highlandtown Community Association. And since we're making plugs for the garden, I'm also going to just mention that the garden space, which is at 25 South Conkling Street, is available for community events. So if you want to hold an event, like if you got something you'd like to do for your block and you don't want to have to close the street or have some friends in or anything like that, the Conkling Street Garden is available for that. The only downside to the Conkling Street Garden is there are no restroom facilities there, so, you know, plan accordingly. What else do we have?
If we did want to like rent a porta potty for an event, does anybody have an idea how feasible that is?
We can definitely rent porta potties for events. We've done it before for the crab. Didn't we have a
Yeah,
porta potty for the?
Bob's Potties is like $250.
Yeah.
For the crab feast, I rented that. We could easily rent one.
So anytime anybody has an idea for something that needs, you know, funding at all, including possibly a porta potty or anything of the sort, we do request that you put together some sort of a budget, a plan. You know, we're going to do this event on this particular street. We need these following items. We need help with permitting for road closures, anything of the sort. We can help with all that. But yeah, we can bring porta potties in anywhere, including Conkling Street Garden, if need be. So with that, one more thing from me. We have our monthly safety walk. We've always referred to it as the cop walk, but that sounds a little bit in your face. We'll just call it a safety walk. The Southeast District Police Department sends us an officer once a month. It is the first Tuesday of every month. It is at 7 o'clock. There is a slide in there. If you watch, it'll come around. We meet at the corner of Gough Street and South Conkling Street. That's across from Sally O's in front of Highlandtown Galleries. And if you have any concerns at all within the neighborhood, something you would like us to look at, something you'd like the police to look at, anything at all, please feel free to come out and join us. If it's anything that you are concerned about but you do not want to be seen walking the street with a police officer by somebody, just tell us where it is. You can tell us where it is. We'll go check it out. You can walk with us and peel off before we get there. You can do whatever it is that makes you comfortable, because we want to keep you safe and we want to keep the neighborhood safe. So if you see something, say something, and that's the perfect opportunity. Kat, do you have any update on the crosswalk? If you do, if you don't, all right, here we go.
So thanks to everybody for voting on your, and spreading the word about the voting, for your favorite design. This is for a crosswalk safety mural on Eastern and South Elwood. The official results aren't in yet, but I do think the Park Shine result won. So those are all on, actually, I don't know if you can pull it up, highlandtown.com under Hot Topics. You can see, or if folks want to go there on your own, you can see the different, a little bit more information about the project and the different designs. Voting is closed though, so, but you can see the Park Shine design, which I think won. The other really piece of exciting news is that the project we got another grant for the project, so that's for the second half. So it's like, I think 99% funded. We're waiting to hear about one more funding source, but that is fantastic news. So this is all to improve visibility and pedestrian safety, again, at Eastern and Elwood. So that's pretty exciting. And I think that's the update. Are there questions about that? Or? Oh, there we go. So that's sort of the concept of what it'll look like. And then there's a link to voting that I think shows all the, that bit.ly. You might have to type it in. Sorry. But I think the bottom line is it's all on highlandtown.com if you want to check it out. And the project's almost entirely fully funded, which is fantastic. So we should see the actual installation this spring. And there's going to be an opportunity for community members to come out and help paint the actual design, or to paint rocks if you're, as your abilities allow. Anyway, thank you. So that's the update. Happy to answer questions.
Thanks, Kat, and thanks for doing all the legwork. She rallied the money, the grant money, and other things, and it was an arduous, nearly 1 year process?
Yeah.
Over 1 year process?
About a year, so
Yeah, so,
from
you
the
know.
first pedestrian safety walk to this.
Yeah.
And thanks to all the board members and Liz who helped as well.
Yeah, so it's a great thing that we're all happy for, and if anybody wants to do anything similar, please let us know, because we can help you. Moving down my list before I open the floor, there's a slide up here that indicates about reporting vacant homes, and I am always kind of harping on this, that if you see a house on your block or really anywhere in the neighborhood that is open to casual entry, meaning open windows, open doors, anything like that, where squatters can get inside, it's cold outside, and people who are experiencing homelessness are going to seek shelter, and we can find ways to help them, but we would rather they not be squatting in homes that are not secured, partly because they may choose to seek alternate heat sources, which can be dangerous for us all. So we hope that everybody will report that kind of thing. If you do report it, it can be done on 311. It can be done by emailing highlandtown21224@gmail. There are many ways to do it. You can come out with us on our cop walk and point something out if it's a concern to you. But this time of year, that's a big deal, because we do not need fires on blocks. And Kat, did you want to say something about the fire down the street? I'm going to bring Kat back up.
Yeah, Peter Weiland's may or may not be coming. He's the one who gave me the info, but this is about the fire that was on 300 Southeast. There's a GoFundMe to support the homeowner, and that is also, thanks to John, on highlandtown.com under Hot Topics. It's the first link there. And it's also on some of the neighbor pages. I don't have a ton of other info, I just wanted to share that, but if Peter comes, I think he knew the homeowner and some of the other neighbors, so he might have more info, but I just wanted to share the GoFundMe, so, thank you.
Did you say it was an elderly person who was living there? Where is she staying now?
So for those who aren't aware, there was a house fire at the corner of East and
Golf.
Goff, right. Early on Sunday morning, and a resident was displaced, and I don't know if there was damage to the house next door. I haven't heard that there was, but, you know, we do have adjoining walls, and I don't really know what's happened there. But the GoFundMe page is an easy way to help a neighbor in distress, because, you know, something similar could happen to any of us, so. So with that, I'm going to open the floor to anyone who has something to offer. Sorry, before that, I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself. Today is our board elections, and the active members, again, you have to be an active member of the community association to vote on this. The ballot is in several hands around the room. It is also on the, Ann, can you scroll to the ballot page and see who is up there?
You're just there, Sadie.
Here we come. I put this together. I know we're working backwards. No, the ballot page.
Oh yeah, okay. Did I just go by
You were there a
that?
second.
I'm
It was
sorry.
back earlier.
Yeah,
it's
it's the
near-
one
it's
that's
near the
table,
beginning.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
There you
go.
go.
Sorry.
So Bobby Joe has put her hat in for vice president. There is a write-in spot for that. If you'd like to nominate somebody or write somebody in, you can do that. The treasurer is an open position. We are without a treasurer moving forward. And I just have to say that this is, if somebody does not want to take this on a permanent basis, we really could use somebody to take it on an interim basis until we find somebody permanent. You have to have been a member of the board for a while. In other words, I can't just take a raised hand from everywhere in the room. But it is very important that this position be separate from me and be something that is, you know, in the hands of somebody who is responsible and, you know, good with numbers and, you know, willing to essentially manage our ledger and our cash. I wouldn't say that it's a difficult job, but it is probably arguably the most important job in the community association. And it really shouldn't fall to me as an interim because it just shouldn't. There's supposed to be checks and balances in a situation like this. So the treasurer position is open. Again, I'm going to ask for somebody, if somebody can take it on at an interim basis. At-large positions that are open, Mark Parker is up for re-election, Nick Frazone is up for re-election, and Nick Curley is up for re-election, and Vanessa Frund is the outgoing vice president, but she intends to remain on the board. There are also places there to write in people, and we will discuss that moving forward if we get any write-ins for that. So the ballots are out there. Anybody online who wants to vote, please do so privately, not to the whole group, but directly back to the host, and Ann will see that, and she will tally those votes as well. So with that, yeah, Mark.
Just, I know Nick often goes by Frizzy with a Z, but it's an S, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Nick. I'm sure I knew that. I know I knew that.
He says I do it for myself too.
Nick finds it amusing, so.
I thought he might. Good-natured soul that he is. Any questions from the interwebs, Ann?
Hold on.
You're good.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
Okay. None at this point? No questions?
I mean, Mark just said no.
Okay. All right. So with that, I will open the floor for anybody who has something to offer for the greater good. Amanda, you're up.
Hi, everybody. Amanda Smith, Highlandtown, Amanda Smith Peters. I forgot I have that two-name thing. Highlandtown Main Street Manager. Just great to see everybody. Happy New Year. Just a quick note, Art Walks will start, First Friday Art Walks will start back up. February 3rd, you might have been in town for an Art Walk Light. I think 1 or 2 places were open in January, but we'll be back Friday, February 3rd from 5 to 9. Posters and flyers and things are coming soon. And if you're an artist out there and you want to be connected to a venue, just send me an email. It's amanda@southeastcdc.org, and you can always find it on iHeartHighlandtown.com. And I think that's really about it for now. We've had a number of new businesses open up. I know everybody's really excited about Mystic Burrito. They are aware that they don't have a Facebook or online presence yet. Be patient with them, please. Please. They know you're excited, and they know they're asking for our patience. And also we have the new Dreamers and Make Believers bookstore and comic book store that's open, and coffee shop right at 400 South Highland. So a lot of fun things in the neighborhood, and you're going to hear from a new business tonight. So lots to be excited about in 2023.
Thank you, Amanda. Anything else from the floor?
Major Saunders is on and would like to say a word.
Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to turn it over to Major Saunders from the Police Department, Southeast District. She is the new major.
Good evening. I'm not sure if you guys can even see me, but I just wanted to pop on as your new major, introduce myself, address any quick concerns. I did drop my name and email in the chat if that can be shared. And if I don't want to take up a lot of time because I heard you're doing elections, so I know that can be a pretty tedious task. So if there are any specific questions, to not intrude on your meeting too much, if you want to shoot them to me in an email and I can address them that way as well. But I mean, I am happy to be back here in the Southeast. I spent a bunch of my childhood on South Conkling Street, where my best friend's parents lived they grew up there and then lived there till they passed 2 years ago. So I spent a lot of Christmases, Easters, and in between there. So I'm very familiar with the community, and I'm really happy to be back in the Southeast. But if there's any immediate questions of me that I can answer for you, I'd be glad to. Or if you just want to shoot me an email so I don't take too much of your time tonight.
Can you repeat your email for us, please?
It's in the chat. It's everyone messes my first name up, so it's KEIRA .Saunders SAUNDERS at Baltimore Police, all one word, .org.
Perfect. And would you do me a favor and please send all of your contact information to me at highlandtown21224 at gmail.com. That's Highlandtown, our zip code, at Gmail. And I will save everything so that we can reach you. And if anybody needs
Is this
to reach...
Bill?
Pardon?
Are you Bill?
I'm Brian.
Brian Sweeney. So I'll make Raul has it. I'm not in a spot I can write it down. I know Officer Rivera has all your information, and I will make sure that is sent over to you as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you. I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, so I hope that's a good thing for you guys.
That's a good thing, and I look forward to actually meeting face to face. So again, welcome, and you're always welcome here as well. So.
Yeah, when is your walk? Because I want to put that on my calendar as well. I think Raul did send it to me. I just have to go through my calendar.
Yeah, it's the first Tuesdays of every month at 7 o'clock.
So the next one will be February?
Yep.
Okay.
South Conkling and Goff.
Easy enough.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you and welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions before I jump off real fast?
Not for me, and no raised hands in the house. How about our online participants?
I'm gonna take silence as a no, but I
Okay,
look
all
forward
right.
to seeing you guys at the walk. I will put that on my calendar, and I hope you have a successful vote.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the floor? So we're trying to expedite things a little bit because we have two presenters tonight. We have Charm City Martial Arts Academy is coming to the neighborhood and would like us to support them when they go to the zoning board for zoning variance. You want to come on up? And Ann, can you bring up their slides? So what they're asking for, before they dive in too much, I'll recap a little bit what I understand. The building that they're moving into was built as a commercial space long before I got here, so I don't know what was there initially. It's never been a residence, but when the city went through a rezoning process several years ago, if there was not an active business in the building, it was in a residential area, that building was rezoned to residential, or R8. The building can be used for commercial purposes with a zoning variance. In this particular case, conditional, I'm sorry, I used the wrong language here. With a conditional use variance that will allow them to operate as a commercial business. And this building is not a house, it's never been a house, it's never been apartments. It was built as a commercial building, so I feel this is an ideal opportunity for it, but I will let you review their slides. Following that, we have Sergeant Jason Hines, who is going to be presenting to us about our camera program. Is Sergeant Hines here? Sergeant Hines is not here yet, but I did speak with him earlier this afternoon. Is he online?
I don't see him.
Okay. I know he was not feeling well this morning when I talked to him. When I talked to him this afternoon, he had rallied and was intending to be here in person. I told him that we would be ready for him as early as 7:30. I'm trying to expedite things a little bit because at least one of the people who is attending online has a hard stop at 8 o'clock, so he could roll in any time now. In the meantime, I'm going to hand this off to Joseph and Nija Rollins of Charm City Martial Arts.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. You want to use the mic?
So my name is Nija Rollins,
And I'm Joseph Rollins.
and we are excited to join the Highlandtown community. We will be bringing our martial arts and life enrichment program, which is called Charm City Martial Arts Academy, and we are located at 3735 Gulf Street. So we are a personal service establishment that will be providing martial arts classes and a after-school life enrichment that will support students between the ages of 5 to 18 years old. In total, we expect to see about 70 students who will be attending daily with a maximum capacity of 100 students. We will have 7 to 10 trained staff members. We also have a in-school martial arts program where we're partnered with several schools in Baltimore City, but this is going to be our first brick and mortar location in the city. Our hours of operation for our after-school program are Mondays through Fridays from 2:30 until 6:30 p.m. And 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. On Sundays, the studio will not be open.
In terms of parking and transportation. So we will have a direct service that will pick up students from school and then also drop them off for those parents that select to have the drop-off service. For parents that pick up their students, we're going to apply with the passenger loading zone through Baltimore City Parking Authority, just to make sure that we actually can find a secure way of transitioning and making sure that that transition process doesn't just back up around or on Gulf when it comes to pickup. There aren't any restrictions when it comes to the parking requirements there and the other business that's there that you see that occupies the black space in that image. They're done by the time we start, so the parking will be available for the 7 spots.
And then we will have 1 to 2 transportation vehicles that will also be parked regularly in that parking lot. All right, and then lastly, for our lighting and safety, we actually love, one of our favorite parts, even before coming to this part of town, is the lighting in this area. So we've definitely taken our kids to like ride around and to see the space. So we want to add that same ambiance for the exterior lighting at the school. Right now, the parking lot has some street parking, like in between the buildings. There's street lighting, I mean. So we're going to keep the same ambiance with the community and do those lights across the parking lot. We've already installed security cameras on the exterior on both sides of the front entrance. And then we're also going to put one that's going to be on the side of the building that also provides some additional light as well.
So yeah, real excited. Are there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So is there any thought of doing like adult kickboxing classes?
Absolutely.
It's so funny you said that. Yes.
Yes.
That will be our phase 2.
Yes. So yeah, we would have that as well. One of our pieces is also adding a classes for adults, so it will be kickboxing classes. There will be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes as well. There will be fitness-related classes for like if you want to do a boot camp fitness class. So there's a lot of different adult classes that will be offered. We're just of course starting with the little ones because we are also teaching with the littles. No problem.
And you've told me, but can you share everyone just a little bit about your experience working with young people? Because it isn't just starting today, you have quite a lot of experience.
Yes, so combined over 40 years of experience working with kids. We were both working actually at KIPP DC in DC for the last 5 years before we moved to Baltimore, and then since we've been in Baltimore, we've been at Charm City Charm City. Oh my gosh, we've been at City Springs, and Charm City Mixed Martial Arts has actually been there. So currently, there's a program at City Springs where the in-school mixed martial arts program is just like they have art and music and gym. It's just like martial arts during the day. As well as Lakeland Elementary Middle. It's also there, which is a little further, but it's still in Baltimore. And soon to be also at Furman Elementary Middle, or Preparatory Academy. So just trying to find different schools that are looking for the same experience, trying to tackle the different issues we've seen when it comes to the youth in the city. And we see and hear about it all the time, so we're just playing our part with what we know to support the cause.
And we're both in education. I'm currently working with restorative practice. We're doing a lot of social emotional learning. So although we are Martial Arts Academy, we also will be offering social emotional training for kids, mentorship.
Financial literacy.
We're partnered with Junior Achievement, so students will also be doing financial literacy and entrepreneurship. So that's why we consider ourselves a life enrichment program. Our primary focus is with youth, but we love working with the adults in reference to fitness, kickboxing, and everything.
And just so you know, the adult classes will definitely be in the evening, and weekends are ideally, that's the adult time. So evenings and weekends.
So yes, if you all also just want to read more about our vision and joining the community, you can also follow our website, which is
Charm City Kids MMA at CharmCityKidsMMA.com. Charm City
Just
Kids
read more
MMA.
about our program and the background and our family. And we're coming with, we have twin daughters who are sitting in the back, and they also train do martial arts, but they also do. So you can just wait.
Just,
wait for
yeah.
you to see.
Oh, it's okay. All right, come here. Go ahead, come on. Come here, Pele.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then we also got we also
One of our students
who's here,
actually
mentor
came with
support
us.
through the martial arts program, so we wanted to bring her also. You want to talk about it? Come on, Rashad.
There you go, Rashad.
So yeah, this is. Any other questions?
I just have one quick question. Will there be an open house?
Yes, we actually want to have our goal is, so we're going for zoning at the end of the month. After we end up going for zoning and we get our goal of course is to get the approval letter, then we would then go for the UNO. Once we can get that and we're approved that we can actually have people in the building, then we're going to have like a grand opening where we can have people actually come in and see the studio and what we're doing to the space and
and all of that. So absolutely.
And we will run some classes, so for those who may be interested in adult classes while grand opening, we intend on doing kind of like a mock schedule. So if you wanted to have your kids to come and see what the program is about, but we will also have like some speed, like 30-minute kickboxing classes, so you all can also see what that looks like as well. And we'll announce that we're looking at, because our zoning got pushed back a little bit, we're looking at perhaps at the end of February, early March, is when we have to see us also with the grand opening.
Cool.
Very exciting.
Thank you.
All right. So, while I have you, you're asking for a conditional zoning variance. I don't think anybody here, and by a show of hands, is there any objection? None? None online? Okay. Got to ask these questions. So what I usually do is I ask that you essentially write the letter, put it in your words, the address, all of the particulars that you need for the zoning board. That way I can't screw it up. What I do is I'll cut and paste that, I'll add whatever language makes it sound like us, put it on our letterhead, and I will send it out. But I will allow you to write all the specifics, because I don't want to mess anything up. I've actually seen two different addresses for it, 27 and 35 or something. Like, I don't know, but you guys can clarify that for me, and anything else that you need, the proper name, if there's a doing business as name, and then another like official name of the, whatever particulars there are, you give them to me, I'll get you the letter. All right? Awesome. Thank you and welcome. All right, so I have been, all this, bringing people up and everything looks like a stall tactic, and yes, it is, because Sergeant Hines is parking now. So I could dance, I could sing, I could do whatever. I can take questions from the floor. Mark can come up. Sergeant Hines is walking in. But we are now ready for you. Yeah, good timing. Come on up here to the microphone. And do you have something that we need to get up on the screen for you? If so, you want to hand it to Ann, and we'll get that started. Give them just a minute to work out their logistics there. We are pretty much on time to give him 15 minutes or so for his presentation, and to take some Q&A from the floor and from the Zoom room.
I've got 2 announcements if you want.
Oh, and Mark has a few announcements, so come on up.
All right, good evening, everyone. Mark Parker on the board here and pastor at Breath of God Lutheran Church, and glad to be your host tonight. 2 things. One, many of you all know that we're continuing to work on the Clinton Street Community Center. Speaking of fires, it was after a fire in November of 2020 that some properties became available here on Clinton Street, and we finished up one, and we have a whole bunch of 2-year-olds running around in there and learning and growing together and exploring the neighborhood. The other house, we're almost done right now. We'll finish it up by the end of this month. And so if you want to come in and help us wrap it up, it's really straightforward construction stuff. We save the easy stuff for us and for volunteers and let the contractor do the rest. So we're finishing up laying flooring. We're putting down vinyl base, which is really, really simple, and then doing some spot painting, and then we'll be good to go. So there's a few more volunteer days set up here towards the end of the month. And so if you're interested, including Wednesday night and next Sunday from 4 to 7, and Wednesday from 5 to 8. So if you're interested in helping out, be glad to have your help. On January 29th, we'll be knocking on doors, welcoming new neighbors. This is a project that we do as the Highlandtown Community Association, as the church, and as Patterson Park Neighborhood Association. So we'll be knocking on doors of folks who have bought properties here in the community. There's no easy way to access new renter information. So if you are a new renter or you have new renters who have moved in near you, you can drop it in the chat or shoot me an email. My contact information is pretty easy to find around online, but I'll drop it in the chat as well. If you want to come and help, we'll get started around noon, and we'll do it for about an hour and a half on the 29th. So noon on the 29th for welcoming new neighbors, and a few different days coming up for knocking on door, or for helping us finish up the refugee house, and so that we can have hopefully a new family from somewhere in the world coming and joining us in March. If you're interested in being part of the welcoming team for that, which is like a year-round committee that will help, will be in deep relationship with the family that moves in, and will help them kind of navigate public transit and navigate local schools and understand and come to know the neighborhood a little bit better, things like that. If you're interested in that kind of work, please let me know as well. We are finishing up recruiting for that team and getting ready to do training for it. So there you go. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. All right, so I'm going to introduce Sergeant Hines of the Southeast District Baltimore Police Department, but I'm going to do a little recap first. A little over a year ago, the state and the Governor Hogan's office put out a grant opportunity for up to $100,000 for communities statewide. And the idea was that this money was going to allow neighborhoods, community associations, business associations, any organization that really works to support the community that they're in. If they're a nonprofit, I believe the parameters were pretty loose on who could participate. You could apply for a grant that would go towards public safety. And the idea was that this money was going to allow neighborhoods to channel some money towards their local police departments. We had some assistance from somebody who helped a variety of neighborhoods throughout the South, I don't know how far his reach went, but there were, I think, $1.4 million came to the basic Southeast Baltimore area. The Highlandtown Community Association was awarded $99,556. I have the rough budget that was submitted for this, if anybody would like to see it. Our submittal, our grant application required that all of this money be used for technology that would support the police department and what they need to help cover areas where there are not police officers, to cover a lot of different things. So I have the submittals here for this. There have been some changes made on this with pricing and some other things. So what we get is going to be capped at $99,556. But the point is that this money all is earmarked per the grant application for technology for the police department. A variety of neighborhoods throughout the area received this grant. I believe everybody who applied for this actually was awarded the grant, unless they just didn't qualify because they weren't, a community association or something like that. It turned out that it was very, very open for everybody. In fact, there was a second round of grant funding that CAT applied for that actually, it shows there was extra money left in the governor's budget for this program. So everybody got what they asked for if they qualified for it. I don't know of anybody that had any tweaks to theirs. But in Baltimore City, Bel Air Edison was a recipient, Baltimore Economic Advancement Movement, Central Baltimore Partnership, Federal Hill Neighborhood Association, Federal Hill Main Street, Fells Point Main Street, Hamilton Laurelville Main Street, Lexington Market, Original Little Italy Organization, Overly, Pigtown, Southeast CDC, there were, and Highlandtown Main Street was applied for through the Southeast CDC. So my list shows it as Southeast CDC, but it's Highlandtown Main Street. So lots of organizations qualified for this, and nearly everybody on this list is tapping on the $100,000 cap, with one exception on my abbreviated list. And all of these organizations got what they wanted, so it's a good thing. There have been significant questions about how this works, and because I had some help on this, applying for the grant, I'm not very qualified to speak in depth on everything beyond what I've seen in writing. But Sergeant Hines is here to take some questions about the technology, and I will hand it over to Sergeant Hines.
Good evening, everybody. So, worked with Arch McGowan on this one. Senator Ferguson as well, Governor Hogan. Pretty much they had some extra money left over and decided to put these grants out. As Brent talked about, everybody got what they wanted, is what it come down to. They submitted a proposal for equipment or overtime money, security coverage, different aspects. I know Town of Easton did some different things with like private security. And now it's to the point to where the first round of grants were awarded. There's a second round that's in progress that Arch worked on with a number of communities. But in particular for this one, there's two things we looked at was LPRs, license tag readers, and then pole cameras. Now, pole camera is a little bit different than a blue light camera, a camera in your store. These are used for investigations. So on my side of the Southeast, I do mostly gun and drug investigations. Get into some prostitution investigations, carjackings, things of that nature. But where we're using these pole cameras more than anything is like back alleys, or instead of the traditional surveillance, doing a stakeout where somebody sits in front of a house for hours and hours, you set these up and they do the work for you. Technology's come a long way. It's all DVR recorded. Goes into a server the state police actually has. To give you an idea on that, that's a license plate reader. That's something that's in your grant also. So with that, I didn't realize it was still on. So what the computer is doing is when a car drives through like a license plate reader, if it's in there as listed as stolen, it sets an alarm off in our car. Our aviation unit gets it well, and then we try to converge on the area to try to locate the vehicle. So I apologize for that. I didn't realize I was still logged in. But with the pole cameras, looked at a couple different vendors, only 3 vendors in the country that do the pole cameras. And they work with law enforcement all across the country, federal partners. On our side, we don't have like our own technicians. The state police is actually who works with us. And they're the ones come out and set it up and install them for us. They get moved around quite a bit. It's wireless technology, remotely controlled by laptops for the most part. Just want to see what kind of questions you have. I got 2 short videos. And one's about 4 minutes. It just shows the technology. They talk a little bit about it. The one vendor sent me a clip today. Just kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like. The important thing here is they don't stay in one place. They're moved around quite a bit, depending on the need of the investigation. What we're using more than anything is alleys, more for like drug shop type stuff at this point. We just use them another round as far as a gun investigation, where it affected the Southeast, but they lived 3 districts up. And obviously we're not gonna sit there for hours at a time. It's easier to throw the technology up and let it work for us. Do we see the links or, we see it?
Click skip ads. You're good.
Bear with us for a second while we deal with some technical things and see a brief commercial. Here we go.
So this is the actual camera that goes inside the enclosures.
Again, bear with us for just a moment while we handle some technical issues. While I've got the floor, I'll point out that there are 2 broad categories of equipment here. One is the license plate reader that Sergeant Hines spoke about, and the other is the pole cameras. The pole cameras are far and away the less expensive of the 2. We had hoped to get license plate readers at 2 intersections. One would have been the intersection of Eastern Avenue and Haven Street. That's over by the Walgreens. and the other was going to be Haven at Lombard. Both are intersections that are sort of gateways into the neighborhood. We used a broad estimate cost when we submitted the grant. The estimate that was used was $31,000 and some change. That was, again, it was just sort of an average of what these pieces of equipment cost. For the location at Eastern and Haven, the actual estimate for that site came in at $72,000, so more than twice what we had estimated for one. So what's happening now is we're looking for another site to put those. Lombard and Haven might still be a viable candidate. We've looked at some other spots, Eastern and Eaton as a possibility. It really depends somewhat on the infrastructure in the area. They need a power source, they need poles, they need equipment that will cover X number of lanes. I can't speak much more fluently about that.
Or a catastrophic
We are hoping
accident,
to get
you need lawyers who
an estimate
understand how
for that
powerful hospitals
shortly,
and insurance
because
companies
that is going to be the expensive item, and that's going to be the time-consuming item to put together. And this all has to be completed on a deadline. We have to submit our final invoice by the end of the period of the grant, whatever the reporting schedule is. End of June?
End of June, it ends the fiscal year, so I believe.
Oh, so it's fiscal year. I was thinking it was August. So yeah, end of June, that's even tighter than what I thought. So we have to have everything invoiced by then. So we are up against a bit of a hard time. Go ahead, Amanda.
Brian, the cost, when you were, I missed a bit what you were saying. You were saying the estimate you got for Eastern Haven, was that for LPRs?
For the LPRs.
Can we talk after about that? I mean, I had also earmarked an LPR in my budget for that intersection, so maybe there's a way to still do it if we pull some money. I don't know.
Okay. We can talk, if we can pool our resources with the business association, maybe we can work something out there. There's no reason not to. Go ahead, Mark.
Vanessa asked in the chat, can community members submit suggestions for places for the equipment?
For the LPRs.
Which equipment, Vanessa, the LPRs or the cameras?
I mean, because we live here, so we don't make area.
Both? I mean, just anything?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
What I would defer to the police.
And how would people do that?
Going to be the most useful because they know where there's, you use those in higher traffic areas, I would imagine, versus like a side street.
So when we came out with the LPR, that's actually LPR. We came out with that last year. Honestly, it was right about the time we were having all the commercial robberies on Hollandtown along Eastern Avenue. And with LPRs, what you're trying to do is like the closest one to there is Baltimore Highland. Gets a fair amount of activity. Conklin and Pulaski gets quite a bit as far as like the east-west. So when we started looking at LPR locations, Hollandtown-wise, we looked at Eastern Avenue just because of the issues we're having there. You got the bars, clubs. But then we looked at Pratt and President and some other locations because of the carjackings. You know, you could have a carjack on this side of town, but we would never know where that vehicle was till it got to like Fulton Avenue was like the next one last time. So we're trying, on our side, we're more worried about Southeast. And we said, okay, so if we get Pratt and President, we know when they're coming in. If we get something to Lombard, we know when it's going out. Because there's lots of signs of like our helicopters here in the community circling around, and I'm running tags in LPR, and I'm like, hey, Fox, it's now at Fulton Avenue. Well, then he's got a beeline up there where, you know, there's nothing to let us know what even left the district at that point. So that's what, when we talked about intersections, we tried doing what was best for the community. But Hollandtown-wise, we had such an issue at that point with the robberies and stuff up there. So that's why we kind of use those intersections. In Haven and Eastern seem like the best, but it's such an oblong intersection. There's a lot more to it than we thought. Where you look at a Baltimore Highland, they were able to put everything on one pole above the traffic box. It made everything a lot easier. Some of these other intersections, especially like Pratt and President, is going to be very involved with trying to get that done. And Little Italy's working through that, trying to make that happen.
So Vanessa was asking before, how would a community member make the
With the LPRs or?
Yes, or
I mean. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't put it on like a smaller intersection. You're trying to get the bang for your buck, is what you're trying to do. And I mean, we don't use these just for stolen autos. We use them for a number of things, you know, just basic investigations. If you look at the cars that ride around, they have cameras on them. We could turn around and have an abduction today and get a partial tag, and that gives us the ability to do some creative searches and say, wait a minute, this vehicle matches, it's parked at this address in the Northwest every single night. They're used for a number of things. And nobody's actively monitoring them other than, I'm up on it today, but it's running for anything that comes back like stolen. It just gives me a location, and you got the hunt's on. You got to try to find it from there.
Can you talk about how the pole cameras work a little bit more, or show the
Yeah, so the video is going to show you the actual camera that we use. It's an internet-based camera. It goes into a wireless router, but it goes into a small concealment unit. There's various different ones we use. This video just kind of gives you an idea what it looks like and some of the details of it. I know there's some questions about specs with it. And then I'll show you a quick video that the supplier gave us today. It's an actual live camera somewhere out in the country. I don't know where it's at. It's a demo cam. And it's a real short video. It just shows, you know, zooming in and out. And what we're using these for a lot is, think back to typical stakeout. You don't have to do that anymore. You set the technology up and it does it for you. But yeah, we play a video. It's like a 4-minute video. Just kind of tells you a little bit about it. Yes, ma'am.
Can fight to deny you the compensation you need and deserve. You need Demore Personal Injury Law.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Streakwave TV. My name is Natalie Miskey. Today we are introducing Canon USA's IP network security and surveillance camera, models VB-M40 and VB-C60. These cameras combine excellent optics with essential and versatile security features. They make a perfect solution for monitoring in a wide variety of settings, from small retail shops to large facilities, both indoors and outdoors. The VB-M40 and VB-C60 are both PTZ cameras, which stands for Pan Tilt Zoom. Both PTZ cameras can be remotely managed and are capable of panning 340 degrees and tilting over 100 degrees. Both can be installed in wired and wireless deployments and are ideal for a broad range of applications. In combination with wireless broadband options, users can increase their range of deployment and reduce installation and maintenance costs. By adding a wireless radio, antenna, and power source, the cameras can be placed almost anywhere. The VB-M40 is equipped with a 55.4 degrees wide-angle lens and a 20x optical zoom. The VB-C60 has a 56 degrees wide-angle lens and has 40x optical zoom. These cameras are perfect when you need to observe a large area or concentrate on specific scenes with a single installation. Both cameras have a high-sensitivity progressive scan CCD sensor, DigicNet processor, and a high-grade ground glass lens that delivers superior image quality. One of the great benefits of the VB-M40 is that it comes with a 1.3 megapixel CMOS sensor. This helps provide images with 4 times the detail of a VGA security camera. It can be streamed in low bandwidth and uses less space thanks to the H.264 codec. Additionally, Canon's proprietary imaging engine provides exceptional image quality in varied light for clear visibility of subjects and surroundings. You can see clear color images down to as low as 0.7 lux on the VB-C60 and 0.03 lux on the VB-M40. The cameras also include smart shade control, which lets you adjust the contrast of darker areas for more distinct images. It also comes with an image stabilizer to compensate for image blur caused by camera vibrations or movements. Both cameras have built-in motion detection. The VB-M40 has additional onboard video analytics, enabling the camera to detect moving, abandoned, or removed objects. It also detects any attempts at camera tampering and changes in sound levels. These cameras also include a 2-way audio option, which can transmit and receive audio in full duplex so administrators can listen to the camera site and make announcements as needed. Both cameras can be powered by standard PoE. This allows the use of a single network cable to power the camera and have the ability to transfer video and audio data when connected to a PoE switch. Imaging applications include businesses, schools, warehouses, and many other indoor and outdoor solutions. These cameras ship with RM Lite, the light version of Canon's network video monitoring and recording software. The full version is also available for purchase. All Canon cameras are fully ONVIF compliant, ensuring compatibility with all major video management software and network video recorders. Overall, these Canon cameras offer new intelligent functions for increased efficiency and are a reliable choice for your security and surveillance monitoring needs. For further information, please visit us on the web at streakwave.com or call 888-604-5234 and speak to one of our knowledgeable account managers. Please join Streakwave TV for regular product overviews, announcements, and training at youtube.com/streakwave. Stay updated by following us on Twitter and liking us on Facebook. Thank you, and please join us again.
All right, so we're going to work on getting that live link up that we can see what one of these cameras looks like in action. I'm going to ask that if anybody has comments that they would like to submit, please do so via highlandtown21224@gmail. Put something in the header so that it pops out, something that says cameras or grant funding or whatever the case may be. We're looking for any kind of feedback that you've got on this. And does anybody have any questions at this point?
So how long does it store data?
They're stored about 45 days. We archive them.
So the question is,
Stores for 45, we archive them.
And that's what we're paying for, 45 days?
the question was, how long do they store data for? And it's roughly 45 days, and they do store the data afterwards to go back to.
But I say the data we're archiving is only for investigation.
Oh, yeah, the data will only archive for an active investigation. Anything else, like anything beyond that, will just be written over, but anything that is relevant to a case will be stored. Sergeant Hines, is it fair to say that the LPRs are a smart device and they do a lot of the work for you? They're automated, and that the cameras themselves require monitoring and a little bit more information on behalf of the user? Is that a fair statement?
Both are independent systems for the most part. Yeah. They're independent. So I have two cameras up right now. One's owned by Hartford County. The other's owned by the state police. They're pretty much doing the work for me. We're able to sit down, go through them. Instead of spending hours actually sitting and watching something, you can fast forward through and actually get the details of investigation you need or whatever you're trying to piece together, take notes and save video. And then this video I'm going to show you, it's just a real quick video they put together today. Just kind of shows you an idea of when it's actually deployed. I'm not sure where it's at. It's nowhere around here.
Do you think maybe the technology, once it gets a little bit, maybe something like a 60 to a 90-day save?
But understand that these are just for investigations.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
maybe later
it's
down
like
the
even our City Watch cameras, they're 30 days.
Oh, okay.
Unless you turn around and archive something. Now, we're currently on the state police server. We acquire these cameras, they would go on the Baltimore City server. I'm not sure
Gotcha.
what theirs are on, but City Watch is only 30 days.
Okay.
28 actually.
So we have a question in the chat from Aaron Curley. How many cameras and LPRs are we able to purchase with this funding?
So I think it came out, was it 2 LPR systems and then looking at 5 cameras? Is that what we're?
Yeah, well, that's going to depend somewhat on what the cost for the LPRs comes in at, So that remains to be seen, but again, you know, it's going to be somewhere between $30,000 and $70,000 each for the LPR systems. We may be able to partner with the Highlandtown Business Association, and the rest of that money will go towards cameras, 3 to 5 systems that will be at the disposal of the police department.
Big thing is price. The price is going up. Those cameras alone went up almost $600 just in the last 60 days. And it's supply issues more than anything. I don't know. Just everything's supply issue, it seems like. But I've talked to 2 different vendors and the pricing both went up.
So, yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
And then the 5 camera, the LPRs are stationary. They get set up at one location and they stay there.
LPRs are stationary and stay where they're installed, yes.
The 5 other cameras would get moved around the community as needed,
Yep,
but they would stay in Southeast but be owned by the, like the police would take the maintenance and responsibility for them.
Yeah, we're gonna take all as far as like, goes to a company called FirstNet as far as the service for the internet. We're gonna turn around and put the SD cards in for that and get linked up to our server, stack IP addresses. And they would be used, I mean, we wouldn't be lending these out to like the Western District. These would be used for Southeast investigations.
There's a question from Liz. My understanding is that Brian will be handing over management and control to SCPD. So is that recommendation well thought out?
The recommendation of sending a location suggestions to you rather than to them.
Oh, for the suggestions, can they email you directly on this?
It's probably better if you coordinate, as far as the LPR.
Well, as far as any questions back and forth, do you want to be CC'd on it? Do you want it to come to me? Do you want it to come to you? Okay.
That's okay.
All right. So, well, can I put out your email address or no? What's your email?
It's jason.hines, H-I-N-E-S.
Jason.Hines, H-I-N-E-S, at BaltimorePolice.org and CC Highlandtown21224@gmail.com so that we can all kind of track it and because Sergeant Hines and I will be talking. Yes, Kirk?
What warranty comes with these?
I'm sorry.
How long's the warranty with these?
Warrant, so I think the cameras are 5 years, if I remember right. I know the modem is 5 years. And the ones we're actually looking at are built much better than some of the other vendors. We took that into consideration. Some of them were using 3D molded mounting brackets. Some of them were using 3D molded mounting brackets. And I was actually at the state police and we popped the camera open and the camera's hanging lopsided. So that's one thing that I really questioned the vendors on. This one in particular was the better one because they're the supplier for the camera. But they're using all metal parts. They're not using any 3D molded pieces or anything like that. But I think it's 5 for both. I know the modem definitely. I think the camera's 5 as well.
We have another question in the chat from Liz. What kind of measurable impact to community safety is expected following the installation of the surveillance equipment? And how long do you expect it will take to observe that impact?
I mean, it's going to be hard to judge because, I mean, and I'll give you an example. We used these in the end of 2020 into 2021 for Leverton Street. There was a lot going on up there in that area at the time. We took a lot of homicides around that time. We actually deployed 2 of these up there, one from Hartford, one from State Police. And how to measure it, I don't know. I can tell you the crime has completely dropped up there. The homicide shootings are way down. But it helped us put some pieces together and with some homicides. And I mean, there was one in particular I caught that pieced things together for the detectives. It didn't catch everything, but it gave us enough an angle to go in when people were reluctant to cooperate because they're fearful of retaliation. It's kind of like a silent watchman in some ways. Now we're deploying them based on investigations, whether it's a Metro Crime Stopper or stuff that we're seeing or we get through informants. We've got one up now that is in a back alley, and I'm amazed at what's going on at this house. So you think of the alleys, you might live on Baltimore Street, you know what goes on in the alley, but how do we get back in there and sit and watch? That's where these things are really coming in at this point. Never knew the technology's out there until a couple years ago. Pretty impressed with it. Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to see, it sounds like
Yeah, you can. You can. Like, I mean, I was on one earlier today, and we're using City Watch cameras, and then we have one that's in a back alley, and we're using the combination of both. But you can zoom in and see license plates. These are more set up generally, the two I have now, to where they're just capturing the overall. And the nice thing is you can fast forward, and the quality's there. You can go through 8 hours of tape in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and get an idea of what took place. You know, stop it and play it in real time, document it, and piece things together.
There's a comment from Vanessa. I think it's important for the community to have input on grants HCA applies for, and with this grant, be able to give suggestions on where equipment could possibly be placed, and to make sure all questions are answered. Thanks, all, Dr. Lynn.
I think they have been answered, actually.
Yeah, okay, towards that, we will know where the LPRs go.
Yeah, so haven't come out yet? Gotcha.
We will know where the license plate readers go because that's a static device. I know of at least one location where there are some, or I believe that there are some. When it comes to the the pole cameras, we can ask for deployment here and there. If you recall, roughly 2 years ago, when Leverton Street and the alley there and the area right around the Conkling Street Garden was very problematic, we were asking for some cameras in that area. And the problem there was that the city was working with a fiber optic system, and to run fiber off of a trunk line to a specific location is very problematic. It's very expensive, and it just didn't happen. So what we've learned tonight was that the police department actually did bring in some pole cameras, and they put them there. This was at our request. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we talked to city council, we talked to the police department, we had a dialogue with the state's attorney's office asking for some enforcement in these areas. And, you know, we didn't know that they were put there specifically because these are covert cameras. This equipment is, you know, it's not very good if the people who you're looking for can step out onto the street and point at them. But they were put there, and it's because we asked for them. So I hope that answers some questions.
Any more questions? Or?
There's more comments than questions in here now.
Yeah, and I think I just say this. A bunch of other folks are weighing in online in the chat, more about less about the tech and kind of proposals, and more about kind of our own internal process and organization in terms of some of the same stuff about how we want to applying for it and how we want to kind of collectively as an organization, but I think especially as a board of directors, talk through the implementation. The tech side is helpful to know,
okay,
but I think some of it's more internal to us.
I can take a little bit of that. This was brought to my attention very late in the application process. If I recall right, and Amanda, you might remember, it appeared that these grants were available to business districts and that kind of thing, but it turns out we found out pretty late in the game that it was actually available for community organizations of all sorts, and I did, you know, read a brief list of some of the other recipients. It was presented to us in whole cloth by somebody who was helping other associations with similar grants, and we can see the results. Again, I don't know of anyone who was denied the application, and I don't know of anyone who, any of these groups who worked with the person who helped us who were denied everything. It actually seemed to be quite seamless. So when it was brought to me, I thought, well, you know, this is something that we should do. It's a pass-through for us. It's not our money to do anything with beyond what the scope of the grant was. And we had help with the grant writing, you know, with our limited time. And frankly, I didn't think we would get it. I mean, I don't approach grants with any kind of assumption that we're going to get anything. And my thought on it was that, you know, it's a bit of a Hail Mary when you put in a $100,000 grant. I mean, what are the odds? I would have guessed it was very little, and come to find out that everybody got it. So yeah, the process didn't go as it probably should have, but again, it's not our money to do anything beyond with. It is literally a pass-through from the state of Maryland to local police departments, funneled through community associations, so we can direct it a little bit. And I hope that answers a few questions. Go ahead, Amanda.
Sure, I just want to add, $100,000 sounds like a lot of money, but it is not a lot of money when you're working with this type of technology. And so if you take $100,000 and buy everyone a low-end camera, and everyone gets a camera, you actually will be doing the community a disservice, because the camera quality won't be good enough to capture what the police really need. So this is an opportunity to help the police get sort of the surveillance and the items that they need. And also what's important is thinking about maintenance beyond. We had another program that we did on the Main Street. I'm gonna talk to Heinz after this meeting about it. And I will say, like, we're in the throes of like figuring out now what to do with cameras that aren't quite meeting our needs or working. So if you can pass stuff over to the police, give them what they need in terms of technology, help them get this checklist item, and also let them take over the maintenance, the responsibility, and all of that, it's probably the best way to manage a program like this. Only because it is a lot of work to maintain and try to get the officers on the ground the footage they need. It's very complicated, is all I have to say. And so let them do their job when it comes to that stuff. That's what they want, so.
Yeah, I don't know what their needs are. I'm not a tech guru at any level, and I am super happy to have something brought in here that can help, with places like Leverton and other places of the sort. So hope that answers a few questions. Do we have any other questions? I think that's everything. Again, if you have comments or questions on this, they can be sent to highlandtown21224@gmail.com and to jason.hines, Hines, @baltimorepolice.org. Correct? Okay. And if there's anything else for the good and welfare of Highlandtown, please say so. And if not, see you next month. And welcome to our new business. Very excited, really. And thank you to Sergeant Hines, and thanks to everyone who came out tonight. Have a great night. Thanks again.
I know you said something in the email. I didn't say anything. I don't know what should we ask Brian? Are you all set here? Okay.
I was on the years.
Oh. I don't remember. Okay.
So I said, it's been 3 years.
Right.
Oh, by the way, we will tally the ballots, and I will email everybody on the board. We will post it on the socials, and we will discuss it next month.